a black belt is not the end goal. A black belt is actually the beginning. A lot of people don't understand that. They feel that a black belt is like the pinnacle of what you reach as a martial artist, whereas it's only the beginning. This journey that we're on, it's just started. And the goal of this journey is to spread the positivity out there to others, to make people realize that living this kind of life within a place like the school is only gonna make us better outside. It's spreading the word.
Pay it forward.
I gotta pay it forward, as you said.
Pay it forward.
You know? Welcome everyone to a Black Belt Way of Life podcast. I am your host, Master Joe Lupo Jr. Salud. Tonight, I have my first guest on my podcast, Mr. Frankie Yournett. Mr. Frankie has been a student at the New York Black Belt Center for well over a year, and it is my honor and pleasure to have him here as our first guest. But before we go into Frankie, tonight's episode is brought to you by Merino Printing. Check them out on Instagram at Merino Printing for all your garment printing needs. Check them out, MERINO, Merino Printing. Without further ado, my man Frankie.
Well, first and foremost, I would like to say thank you, and it's an honor to be your first guest.
Honor's all mine, my brother.
Right.
You know, here at the Black Belt Way of Life podcast, we're all about positivity, but for a lot of us, we have to go through the struggle in order to be victorious. You know, so tonight, we're gonna focus on Frankie's upbringing, what's brought him to this point of him following a black belt way of life.
Right.
So, Frankie, talk to us about your upbringing. Talk to us about where you grew up, how it was like. You know, give us a nice little background story.
Sure. Well, I grew up in Crown Heights, Brooklyn.
Right.
And mostly with a single mother, you know. My father was there, you know, but he happened to have a stroke. So she was kind of taking care of him and, you know, and she was doing like 3 jobs. And, you know, we grew up poor. I'm not going to lie to you. We grew up poor, you know, mayonnaise sandwiches, ketchup sandwiches.
Right.
You know, a lot of Spam, different ways, you know, boiled, fried.
All right.
You know. But I was never lacking. You know, she made sure that I had everything and that, you know, I was content, you know, and I knew it was hard for her. So at the age of 12, I went to go get a job just to ease things, you know, the pressure off of her.
Sure.
You know, and I've been working ever since, you know, and it's like I try to give her, you know, here, Ma, take this, take that.
Yeah.
And, you know, she's always like, no, you know, and just means a lot. You know, it was rough, though. You know, the streets is like, you know, I was always the type of person, like, I was always kind of in fighting and stuff like that, and
the street life,
you know, just growing up. But I never really had problems, though. You know, I really never had. I wasn't the type to have problems. Wasn't no gangs or anything like that. Everybody just took care of their blocks.
Sure.
You know, so my block, and we protected that, and, you know, and stuff like that. But it was fun. It was fun growing up. You know, I never forget. There was this guy went out to this nightclub, right? And you know, he had got jumped and stuff like that. And he had said, I never forget this. He said, you know, oh, I'm going to go get my father. And everybody laughed at him. You know, like, you got to get your father and stuff. But you know what? That's when I realized, I was like, who else to get? Who else is going to have your back?
Yeah.
You know, 100%. Who else is not going to ask any questions?
Sure.
You know? So that always stood with me, you know? That always stood with me. But, you know, it was it was fun. You know, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of hard times. It was a lot of hanging out.
Sure, sure.
You know.
So would you say you got your education from the street? You
Yeah.
got your personality
Oh
from the
yeah.
street?
Oh yeah. Without a doubt. You know, it's just never left.
Yeah.
You know, it's just never left. You know, I'm still the same person. Got a good heart. You know, but sometimes people think, oh, because you got a good heart, they could take that for granted.
Sure.
You know, and that's when kind of another side of you comes out. You know, but yeah, I would definitely say I got my education from the streets. I won't change anything because
Sure.
it made me the person that I am now. You know, it made me grow up. Did it make me grow up fast? Yes.
Yeah.
It made me grow up fast, and you know, but I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't go back to anything, you know, because it matured me really quick.
Sure.
It matured me
Sure.
really quick.
Sure.
So yeah,
From what you're saying, you know, the struggle shaped you.
it makes you know the value of a dollar.
There you go.
You know, and that's what kind of I try to install in my boys now. You know, you got to work hard for what you want.
Sure.
You know, nobody's going to give you a handout. You know, and I'm not going to be around forever.
Yeah.
So you know, you have to make sure that you put yourself in a place where, you know, you don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah.
You know, and that's also the difference of a job and a career.
Sure.
You know, you don't want to be worrying about paycheck to paycheck and stuff like that. You want to, you know, you want to live comfortably.
Sure.
You know, and like I tell them, you've seen me struggle, and you know, because my son, he came to live with me when he was 10.
Okay.
You know, and I was a kid too. So I was a kid raising a kid. You know what I mean? And but we did it. You know, we did it and we survived. And you know, you can't never say that he went without eating and you know, or anything like that. We did it, and sometimes you gotta take from this. Okay, I can't pay this. I gotta pay this. You know, but you know, I feel like it shaped us, and it made us grow more together.
Sure.
You know, it was like a bond. You know, it was like a bond, and it just really made the relationship stronger with my son. You know, to the point like at one point we even worked together. So just like going home or going to work, it was like, you know, it just the relationship just got stronger. Yeah. You know.
The beautiful thing about everything you just said, without you even realizing, you touched on every single tenet of Taekwondo.
Really?
Perseverance.
Right.
You touched on that.
Right.
Humility. You touched on that. You know, from humble upbringings, made you into the man you are today.
Well,
Shaped you.
I'm a strong believer in being humble.
Sure.
You know, I'm a strong believer in, let's just say, you give something to someone and they want to pay it back to you, and I always say, pay it forward.
Sure.
Help someone else out.
There you go.
Somebody else that might be in that situation. You know, just pay it forward. Help them out.
Yeah.
You know, the same way I helped you out, you help the next person and keep it going.
There you go.
You know? So, yeah, you know, it's just being humble is an important part of who I am.
Now, coming from the street,
Right.
you know, obviously now you're maturing, you're becoming an adult.
Right.
You know, talk to me about that. Talk to me about, you know, the ups, the downs of being a responsible adult in today's society.
Well, a lot of that had to do with when my son came to live with me. You know, as time went on, I couldn't really do the things that I was doing. You know, I couldn't really go out as much as I was going out.
Sure.
You know, so I had to be there for him, and you know, just everybody. One thing about me, every time I've met a woman or something like that, they never seen that side.
Sure.
So I kept that separate from them, you know? But just, I say having my youngest son, He's 15 now. And I say I was more of a father with him than I was with my oldest, because I just knew more at that point. I knew more. I knew how to be. I knew how to be a father. I didn't know how to be a father then. So that really shaped me up to be responsible and stuff like that. And also, I found God. I'm also a born-again Christian.
There you go.
So, you know, it might sound funny what I'm about to say, but I try to emulate him, although I know I can't, you know. But I try to do.
Big shoes to fill, man.
Oh yeah, you better believe it. You better believe it, man. But I try to do and walk the way he does.
Okay.
You know, and that's like, you see some of that now when I come to class. I come with a smile on my face.
Yeah. Oh,
I leave
for
with
sure.
a smile, you know, and nobody could tell that I'm having a bad day or what's going on with me.
Sure.
You know, so it's nobody else's fault in the class of what's happening with me. So why would I take it out on them?
Sure.
You know, so, and you see I do stupid shit in class, you know, because I like to see people smile.
Yeah.
I like
Frankie, if the
know.
audience give you a nice little heads up, Frankie really brings a smile to everyone in the class. You know, myself and Frankie, when I'm teaching, we'll go tit for tat a little bit.
Right,
you know, but
right.
why do I do that with you? Because I know your personality.
Right.
I know it's going to make the class smile. I know it's going to make the class fun, because as much as we're working out in that cardio kickboxing, we call it fight fit, the mood's got to be great.
Of course.
You know, people are not only learning a healthy lifestyle, but we are defending ourselves at the end of the day. I'm teaching pure martial arts.
Of course.
But, you know, Frankie brings an energy to the class. He comes into work and he comes in with a great positive energy, and everyone loves it.
But you know, sometimes I don't have that energy.
Yeah.
And you bring it out.
We got to bring it out.
And then
That's
I'm
it.
like, all right, let's
That's
go.
my job. We're going to pull it out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, so question for you.
Yeah, sure.
You went from growing up on the street, as you put it, fighting on the street, protecting your block.
Right.
You know, fighting is a part of the martial arts.
Of course.
What inspired you or took you into walking into a martial arts school?
Well, I've been doing kickboxing for quite a bit.
Okay.
I've been different schools, you know, commercial schools like I Love Kickboxing and CKO.
Okay.
And then also, you know, private schools down by Avenue B and
Okay.
stuff like that. But I have to say, when I joined your school, right, I actually just went for one day with my wife.
I remember that.
Right. And I was like, you know, I said, maybe I should try that again. You know, maybe I should like really go back and just get the experience and see what it's like. So I did that, you know, and I loved it. You know, I loved the way things feel. I love the way you teach. I love the family aura of everything. And it actually brought the best out of me, to be honest with you, because it just makes me, I feel, it does make me a better person, you know, because sometimes someone could be having a bad day, or I could be having a bad day, but it's forgotten once you come through the doors. You know, actually, once I see your face and you're like, let's go, and it's like, whatever bothered me, it's not bothering me anymore.
This face really does that much?
Yeah, man, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised.
Wow.
Yeah. So, you know, I started joining, and I started 3 months, another 3 months, and now you can't get rid of me.
I can't. You're there. But tell me the struggle, though, because you didn't right away jump in and start doing what you did that you do now a year later. Like, how was that first 30 days? How were you feeling physically and mentally?
It was me getting back into it. You know, it was just me having to adapt, get back into it. As you know, I also run. I wasn't running at that point. You know, I wasn't doing anything. It was during COVID.
Sure,
You know, just
That's
after
right.
COVID.
That's right.
You know, so I was sitting on the couch, watching TV, drinking my beer.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I just, you know, the person I was always active. I was doing this, I was doing that, you know, and I just wanted to get back into it because I felt like, to be honest, I felt lost.
Wow.
Without not being able to do anything and stuff like that, you know. So I had to make a conscious effort, you know, and now it's like I'm back to running. It's like I'm inspired again. I'm a whole new person again.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so yeah. So, you know, it is really has helped me as far as motivation, you know, just being more confident and just really giving me the attitude that I have now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I found myself again, let's just say. You know,
Wow.
yeah.
So now we're past the physical part. Elaborate more on the mental part of the class. What philosophies keep you coming back?
That I got to stay in shape. That's the
All right.
philosophy,
All right.
you know? So you had said something, right? The hardest thing to do is to get there.
That's right.
That's the hardest thing to do.
Hardest part of class.
You know,
is showing up.
And I'm not gonna lie to you. Sometimes I make excuses and stuff like that, but then I'm like, you know what? Jump in the shower and then I get in my car and I come. You know, and I'm always glad that I came. You know, I get home and I tell my wife, glad I went today. You know, so as far as the philosophy, it's just, you know, it's just sometimes being around the people, because when you don't go to class or when you take your time off or whatever, you know, to spend with your family, and you don't see these people for a while, you miss these people. You know, you start wondering, like, what are they doing? You know,
Right,
and then you
right.
start wondering to yourself,
Right.
man, I would be doing jumping jacks right now. I'd be doing burpees, squats.
Right.
You know,
Right.
but so that too, just to want to just be around people, see people, it's a good feeling.
Sure.
You know.
Sure. So to being around like-minded individuals, you know.
Well, you know what? Everybody's there for the same goal.
Sure.
You know, everybody's there to get healthy, but you become friends with people. And that's the most important part, you know, because you got to like where you're going. It's the same way you got to like where you work. You spend most time there,
Sure.
right? So it's the same as your activity. You want to like, enjoy to go, you know, and just the people makes it easy.
Sure. So is it a fair statement to make that through the martial arts you found your tribe?
Through the school.
Yeah.
Through the school. It's your school specifically, you know, for the simple fact it's not a dojo, it's a home. It's a home, and you make it feel that way. You know, you really make it feel that way.
Yeah.
You know.
So Frankie, I'll be super honest with you. I knew you got it right away.
Oh, thank
As
you.
an instructor, as someone who's been doing this all his life, you know, always following the example, you know, that my father set for me in regards of teaching how to talk to people. I knew you got it right away, and that's what made you special so quickly in my class. I knew, how I brought up earlier, I could go back and forth with you.
Right.
And that back and forth, at times, would break the ice in the class. Like if people I saw weren't smiling,
Right.
I knew I could kid around with you.
Right. Right.
And everyone will have a smile on their face. So for me as an instructor, having you in my class is special. As much as you're a student,
Right.
I'm always a student first.
Right.
I learn as much from you as you learn from me. So now, getting to that, everything that you have learned, I want to hear about how that's made you a better person, a better husband, a better father? Talk to me about that.
Well, first, I have to say thank you for the compliment. And, you know, the way it's made me a better person. I actually, to be honest with you, I'm going to be completely honest. I feel when I always believed in God,
Yes.
always. But when I got born again, I felt like it made me a better person, right? And when I met my wife, the first day I saw her, the first day I met her, I said, I'm gonna marry you.
Oof.
Yeah, I said, I'm gonna marry you. And she told me, get the hell out of here.
Oof.
I'm not going down that road.
All right.
I was like, okay, well, I asked you again on Christmas. And I did. And then she said, maybe. I said, beggars can't be choosy.
All right. All right.
So then I asked her again on Valentine's, and she said yes.
There you go.
Right.
Love was in the air.
Well, not yet.
Not yet.
Right. She said, you got to ask my parents.
Oof.
Right. So that was a big job to do, you know? I mean, I'm usually not intimidated by situations, but this situations I was,
All right.
you know? So I get there, right? And I tell them, oh, I want to marry your daughter. And they go, but we don't know you. So long story short, now they love me, you know, and they just the most beautiful in-laws I could ever wish for, you know. And as far as being a better father, it's just life. You know, everything that happens day to day it makes me a better person. You know, even old relationships, and I take from it, and I just, you know, I study it, and like what did I do wrong, and what could I have done better, you know, and things like that. Just I try to learn from everything that I do. You know, I'm not perfect, Father.
Sure.
I'm far from. You know, I make my mistakes still. You know, but my kids know that I'm trying, and that's all I could ask for. You know, so I'm not the perfect man, but I try hard to be that. You know, so yeah, I mean, it's tough. You know, it's hard, but you know, it's just you just got to grind with everything with life. That's just life, right? You got to grind, and you got to grind as hard as you can, and don't stop.
Right.
You know, you can't ever quit at anything you do.
Sounds like class.
It is like class,
Right.
And that has taught me a lot. That's where I was just going. You know, it has taught me a lot. I'm going to tell you something, right? Sometimes when I'm running, right, and this is it might sound funny, but I always picture you on my side. So I do that just to keep pushing me. So if I feel like I have no more, and I picture you here running with me, and I'm like, okay, I got to keep going, because it's like just picturing you there is pushing me to the finish line. So yeah. Wow. I didn't want to tell you that, but
that's awesome.
Well, it's the truth.
That's special.
It's the truth. You know, that right there just gives me that extra motivation when I was just about to quit. And like I think about you, the way you push me in class, I think about you running next to me, and I'm like, okay, I got to finish this.
There we go.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes.
That's a gem right there.
Well, it's the truth, man. It's the truth, man. You know, I've since I've met you, I find so many things between me and you in common, you know, and it's like, I guess that's what brings us together, you know, and we could joke, but still, like, you know, the respect is there, you know.
Of course.
Because I just see myself in you, and just, and it just makes it powerful,
Sure.
you
Well,
know.
part of that black belt way of life is the concept of respect. It's a two-way street.
It is.
It's a two-way street.
It is.
As much as
It
I
is.
respect you, you respect me, and that's how we feed off each other. And that's what makes the class special.
And that does.
Yeah.
That does make the class special, because I have utmost respect for everyone there. Because everybody is special in their way.
Yeah.
You know.
Nah, it's a great way to look at it. A black belt way of life. I've spoken about something my father always would say. A black belt is worn around your heart, never your waist. You taking my Fight Fit class.
Right.
Granted, we don't have that uniform on and that physical belt.
Right.
I still teach the class as if it was a martial arts class. That philosophy never, never, never leaves me.
Right. Right.
So you might not have that physical belt around your waist, but I want you to wear it around your heart because I want you to be a better person, because you're a reflection of what I teach. And I
Right.
want you to carry that outside of the school.
It's funny you say that.
Yeah.
Right. I'm glad that you said about the reflection,
Yeah.
because that's what I try to put into my kids. You're a reflection of me.
Sure.
So you need to carry yourself well and be well mannered, at all times.
Sure.
And they do, and they do. But that mindset has to come from you, because, you're the father, and that mindset came from my mom. She has taught me that, So I had to get that mindset from somewhere in order to apply it to my kids. As far as being a reflection of the school, totally, 100%. Because at the end of the day, people see me go into the school and come out of the school. So I can't come out of the school in a rah-rah manner and stuff like that. How would that look upon the school?
Sure.
So it's things that it's a way that you should behave and conduct yourself. And if I say to you, I have the utmost respect for you, just the same way I did right now, then I have to show you as well. I have to show you by my actions. So I can't ever disrespect you or the school, because the school is something that you built from the ground up. And I know how much it means to you. So, it's just I'm a loyal person. Anything you ever need from me, and if I could give it to you, I will. And if you need me to do something, I will. And even if you're in the wrong, I won't tell you that moment in front of people, but I will tell you the next day.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But I will never embarrass you in front of a crowd. But the next day, and I will hope the same from you to me too.
100%.
Like, Frank, you should have not done that, And that carries weight. But you also need to have the mindset to be able to appreciate it and listen. Not everyone does.
No. This is why we live this black belt way of life. And a black belt is not the end goal. A black belt is actually the beginning. A lot of
Right.
people don't understand that. They feel that a black belt is like the pinnacle of what you reach as a martial artist, whereas it's only the beginning. So this journey that we're on, it's just started. And the goal of this journey is to spread the positivity out there to others, to make people realize that living this kind of life within a place like the school
Right.
is only going to make us better outside. And with that, we have to help others. It's spreading the word.
Pay it forward.
I got to pay it forward,
Right.
as you said.
Pay it forward.
You know, and helping others, it's, like I said, we can make this a beautiful thing.
It already is, just because of what you building and the way you structured the school. I mean, just going out from time to time and everyone, getting to know each other more.
Sure.
And, in an intimate setting and, just talking and just shooting the shit, man. It's
Right.
like, and
Right.
that means a lot sometimes,
Sure.
Sometimes you need to get away, and sometimes you don't go out much maybe, or maybe you don't know what to do, or you just, but it gives you that reason to get away and get out and just communicate more. I feel like, just, you got to talk your shit sometimes.
Right. Right.
You just got to talk your shit sometimes.
Raw and uncut.
That's it, man. And, and we had a conversation on Friday. Not everyone could take a raw and uncut, but that's the only way I know how to give it to you.
Yeah.
You know what? Because if I give it to you raw and uncut, that means I have a place for you here. And I'm telling you because I care.
Sure.
Not because I'm disrespecting you in any kind of way or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't you like someone that you know that you're close with to tell you before a stranger tells you?
Sure.
You
Keep
know?
it real.
Keep it real, and that's it, man, you know? And that, I feel like that's just the only way to be. You have to. You can't, I got a saying that I tell my kids. I said, don't try to be somebody you're not. The hardest thing to do is to be yourself. That's the hardest thing to do. Because you know what? If you act like somebody you're not, people could see that. People could see that you're trying overly hard to be something that you're not. Mm-hmm. But when you're yourself, you're pure. You coming from a good place. And people could respect that more than a phony.
Sure. So Frankie, through your growth in the New York Black Belt Center, and I've seen you grow. Like I said earlier, I've learned from you as much as you learned from me. How has your philosophy of life grown, and how are you going to carry that?
Well, you know what? I can't per se say that I have a philosophy.
Okay.
But it has taught me to stay upbeat. And meaning by that, keep your problems outside. Do not bring them into the school. And like I said before, just to kind of come back to it, nobody could tell what I'm going through.
Sure.
I always have a smile on my face, and my joy really is to put a smile on somebody else's face. So when I fall in class, when I trip,
Yeah.
it's to cut
Just
the
so
mood.
everyone knows, we're talking literal
Right.
stumble and fall.
Yes. So it's like when I feel the air is too tight,
Right.
and then everyone it gets to where it has to get to after that moment.
Yeah.
So my thing is just work hard, man.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've been working since 12, and I believe that you just need to strive for everything that you need, that you want, that you get.
Yeah.
And that's something that I take from the school. Just strive, man.
Right.
And you be good at martial arts, if you're doing kickboxing, whatever you're doing, you just put your head to it,
Right.
and you concentrate, and you just, you'll get out of it what you want. Yeah.
So would you say, we're building strength and bringing on joy along with that?
Oh, I would say it's more than that.
Right.
It's more than that. You're not only building strength and joy, you're building a happy place, and that's what I feel like I found, in that school. Mm-hmm. I believe I had mentioned this to you. My wife had said, "Oh yeah, we're moving down to Florida." I said, "Well, can I take Master Joe with me?" You know, but I would like to take everyone in the whole with me.
Sure.
You know, because like I said before, when I don't see those guys, I miss those guys. You know, so when we see each other, it's like a breath of fresh air.
Right.
You know, and it just like I said, man, if you had a bad day, once you walk through those doors, you don't have a bad day anymore. So it's a beautiful thing that you've have built. And don't stop, brother. Don't stop. It's definitely a great place to go, a great place to learn, and just a great place to be.
A way of life.
A way of life. A black belt way of life.
There you go. There you go. Well, audience, I appreciate your time. Frankie, I appreciate you. I am honored to have you as my first guest and to build a Black Belt Way of Life podcast with you.
Well, thank you. I would have to say that I feel honored to be your first guest and very thankful. And I'm proud of what you're building as far as in the school and on this podcast, and I see it going nowhere but up.
Thank you, sir. With that being said, tonight's episode I would like to dedicate to someone special within our school, to Mr. Dennis Cruz and his family. Our heart is with you right now. Anything we could do as a Black Belt family, we are here for you.
100%. 100%, absolutely.
Thank you. So, if you were inspired by Frankie's story, make sure to follow us on all our social media platforms, A Black Belt Way of Life. As my father always taught me, and he always said, a black belt is worn around your heart, never your waist. With that being said, salute, enjoy.
A Black Belt Way of Life podcast was produced by Press Record Studios.